Just like astronomy, meteorology can be a very practical class. One of the things we need to kind of get the ball rolling with regard to our weather is to talk about water. And so our planet, Earth, actually is the only planet with the right pressure and temperature so that water can exist both as a liquid that we drink, as a solid in the wintertime and at the glaciers, and also as a gas. Of course, there's water vapor in the room that you're in, I'm sure. So water on our planet was most likely, a large part of it, deposited by those comets. Remember, comets are kind of in the Kuiper belt and the Oort cloud. But early on in the history of our solar system, comets were kind of more roving here and there. And so it's kind of thought that that's where we got a lot of our water from. So Earth currently, although it's gone through phases to become the Earth that we know it today, actually it is about 70% of its surface, sometimes I've heard 3/4, and here it's 70%, is covered with water. And it's not evenly distributed. So what this little, I don't know if you can see this graph very good, but this is the southern hemisphere, and this is the northern hemisphere, and this is the equator. So of course the blue is water, and the other side is land. So one of the things that I think kind of interesting is that, do you see where the southern hemisphere has a lion's share of water as compared to the northern hemisphere? I think that's kind of interesting. A lot of the water is actually tied up, Earth's water is tied up in the glacial ice in the North and the South Pole. Actually, the next slide is going to kind of emphasize that. So when we talk about day-to-day weather, a lot of times we're wondering, is it going to rain? Is it going to snow? Is it going to be dry? Is it going to be sunny? Are there going to be clouds? And kind of all of that stuff has to do with water vapor. Will the water vapor condense and rain? Okay. Will it connect up and solidify as snow? So honestly, as we're breathing, and we'll talk more about the air that you breathe, what the composition is, but just know with regard to water, it varies from very dry to no water to more like 4% water is the water vapor that's running around in the room. So where is Earth's water? Well, if you've heard that most of Earth's water is tied up as salt water, you are right. So most of Earth's water is tied up in the oceans. A sliver is not tied up in the oceans, and the largest part of that sliver not tied up in the oceans is actually tied up in our poles. So of this almost 3%, a large part of that 3% is actually tied up in glaciers. Now the problem then, obviously, is that as the Earth's temperature warms, then this ice is going to melt, and then the distribution of water on our planet changes. Notice we're already covered, our Earth's surface is already covered by up to 70% by water. So where is the rest of this sliver? Where is the rest of this sliver? So groundwater makes up a large part, a relatively large part of our fresh water, and that's not necessarily directly accessible. And then just that tiny, tiny sliver up there. So basically this sliver of this sliver, actually we finally get our lakes, our soil, our atmosphere, and our surface streams. So there's where Earth's water is.